Thank you for choosing MTG Burgeoning for your Magic the Gathering content. Give us a thumbs up if you enjoyed this video and consider becoming a subscriber. Doing so supports the channel and makes you eligible for our various subscriber rewards series. If you would like to support the channel further, then click the link to our Patreon page in the description below. There, you can join our ongoing Pack Wars series as a 1-month supporter or ongoing member. Or try joining Pack Wars for free by commenting on every MTG Burgeoning video in a month. We strive to offer creative rewards through our various Patreon tiers. So if Pack Wars isn't for you, then something else will be. Links to our content and various subscriber rewards series can be found in the description below. Send us an email, follow us on Twitter, follow us on Instagram. We are your channel for all things Magic.
Hello folks, and welcome back to MTG Burgeoning, your channel for all things Magic. For today, this is not your channel for rewards videos. This is not your channel for deck techs. This is not your channel for top 10s. This is not even your channel for Sunday is Fun Day. In today's video, we're just going to sit back, we're going to sort out some cards, we're going to tell some Magic stories, because that is what it's all about, baby. Magic nostalgia. And sometimes when you just can't get out to play, you can just throw down some cards, see what you got, make some room, just get these things put away. And that's what today is about. And when we left off last time, because this is the Tales from the Metagame series, and when last we left, we were talking about the kitchen table series that we have, how we play our games, the history of our metagame, how we don't play with sideboards, and our mulliganing rule is pretty rough, and that's where we left off. So let's continue with that, and let's talk about, we're sitting down, we're getting ready to start a game. You know, you roll for your deck like we talked about last time. You know you're sitting in for a series. It's first 1 to 3, regardless of how many players we have. It's the first 1 to 3. First one to win 3 games with their deck. Series could go long. There have been times when a series has gone a couple hours. But you know what? Those are the most fun, because there's so many different ways in which someone could crawl back, particularly if there's a player that jumps out to a huge lead, like wins the first 2 games, and then they know that it's turning into arch enemy. And then after that, they may not even come close to winning another game that series. And there's always that possibility of sliding right in and taking that victory, winning that series, and potentially winning the night. You win the night in our metagame. You win the night when you have more series wins than anyone else. So, you know, for example, if we play like 5 series and you win 3 of them, you know that you got the night 1. And that's how we keep track of who wins what. And then, of course, the following week, the question is always, so who won last week? Who won last week? And, well, generally, whoever won the week before generally becomes the target the following week. That works out pretty well, and it's not impossible, but it is a little rare that someone will be, quote-unquote, the winner of the week multiple consecutive weeks. That makes for a strong metagame. That makes for a much more fun place to play, and I prefer that. I really do. I don't want to go to, I don't want to participate in a metagame where the same 1 or maybe 2 people win like every single game. Boring. The best kind of game for me, if we sit down for a night of Magic and there's 4 of us, and we play 12 total games, and if each person wins 3, I'm fine with that. I really am. All right, so we're sitting down. You got your deck. You're shuffling up your deck. Everyone's cutting. Everyone's getting their dice out. Everyone's ready. How do you go first? How do you determine who goes first? Everyone grabs a D20. They pull out a 20-sided die, and they roll, and whoever gets the highest number, they go first. I mean, it's not groundbreaking. No one's reinventing the wheel here. I mean, it's not like we're, this isn't rocket science. It's brain surgery, according to C. Montgomery Burns of the Halloween Simpsons series. Anyway, so you roll your D20s, and highest number goes first. However, it doesn't end there. It doesn't end there. There's so much more to that first opening roll than just determining who goes first. Example, if 4 people sit down and they roll a d20, if there's a tie, if there's any number of people who tie, those players who rolled the dice that tied get a chance to beat the highest number. Or they have a chance to lose to a lower number. So here's an example of that. It sounds a lot more complicated than it really is. Let's shrink it down a little bit. Instead of saying 4, let's say 3. It'll make it easier to explain. So yeah, 3 players sitting down, 3 d20s are rolled. 1 player rolls a 15, 2 players roll a 10. Those 2 players that roll a 10 get to re-roll their d20 with a chance to beat 15. Does it happen? Yes, it does. It's not frequent, but it happens. What's even more entertaining, however, is when 2 people that roll, let's say, of the 3 d20s, 2 people will roll 18, and then 1 person rolls a 5. So the 2 people who tied with the 18, they have to re-roll, and they end up rolling lower than the 5. So then the original player who rolled the 5, they end up going first, even though they lost at the beginning. It was because the other 2 players tied. So that's great. That does happen too, and that is really entertaining when it does. So you never know exactly who's going first until all of those dice stop moving on the table. And it's a riot to watch those 20-siders. Another rule of rolling to see who goes first: if your d20 falls off the table, you are eliminated from going first for that series. So if 3 players are sitting on at the table and they roll their d20s and one of them falls onto the floor, you are not going first. It's up to the other 2 players, even if there's a tie. If your die falls off the table, so does your chance of going first. That's just how it works. That's just one of our house rules. All right, so you think it ends there, right? Oh, it doesn't end there. It doesn't end right there. There's just so much more to it. The customary rolling of the d20 is not just to see who goes first in that series. It's also to see if there's any potential game variants that are played throughout that entire series. And here's an example. So we have a bunch of different game variants that we have in our metagame. We don't always say, when we sit down to play, we don't always say something like, all right, let's play such and such. It's more along the lines of, we're going to sit down, we're going to play kitchen table free-for-all, and if for some reason we roll this particular combination of numbers, then the decks we've already selected are automatically used for that game variant. As an example, let me share this example with you. So we're sitting down. Let's use the example of 3, because 3 is easier to explain than 4. Whoops, you go way over here. So 3 players are rolling. All right, so 3 d20s are rolled, and after those 3 d20s stop rolling, if the numbers on those 3 dice are consecutive numbers, so if the numbers are like 5, 6, 7, or 14, 15, 16, or like 18, 19, 20, if those 3 numbers are consecutive on those 3 different d20s, then the game automatically goes to a game of archenemy. And if that happens, whoever had the highest number of those 3 consecutive numbers is the archenemy. And if that happens, then like I said, everyone keeps their decks, and then you become the archenemy. The archenemy keeps their deck, but then they go and pull out their oversized archenemy deck from the archenemy expansions that Magic has released. I think there's been 2 of them so far. So that's what happens if you roll 3 consecutive numbers. It goes to archenemy. Highest number is the archenemy. You pull out a deck, and then the other players face off against you. It has only happened 1 time in the history of our game, and we've been doing archenemy since the very first archenemy product was released. It's only happened 1 time that the archenemy has lost. And of course, we're following all of the regular rules of archenemy. It's just with the archenemy decks that you can build in addition to the deck that you're sitting down with at the table. it just makes it a pretty difficult task for the archenemy to lose. It's only happened one time ever in the history of our game. Again, archenemy is played when we roll 3 consecutive numbers on the d20s that each player is rolling. So, I mean, it doesn't happen very frequently, but you know what? It happens a lot more than you might think. And that is our archenemy variants for playing. And that is how we roll the dice, baby. There are other game variants that we could potentially play during a night of Magic. To talk about those, you'll have to tune in for the next Tales from the Metagame. This is MTG Burgeoning, your channel for all things Magic.